we're gonna speed through this because I don't. There's a little. What time is it? I got morning.
President would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents. They wouldn't have done it.
Oh, maybe
And
I
it had to
shouldn't
be done.
because
What
he
was
talks
happening
kind of fast.
to us on trade, not only with, if you look at it, not only with China.
Yeah,
China
there's
is
a
by
lot.
far the biggest abuser.
Trump
in
is
history.
actually good cadence, so
And,
it's like
others
not
also,
needed to
but,
fucking speed it up.
Somebody had to do
Whereas
it. They
some
had
of,
to stop because it
dude,
was
some
not
of these other
sustainable.
people when they speak, it's
Last
like,
year,
oh
China
shit, man.
$1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said he's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last
Wow,
month.
Charles Schwab.
And if you didn't do
really?
it, you wouldn't have a
Interesting.
country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. It's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal. And we have many other countries, as you know, many more than 75, and they all want to come. And they want to come here, or they'll go to Commerce, or they'll go to Treasury. We have our great senators here and congressmen. They'll call John. They'll do somebody. They'll go through somebody, but they're all calling. How do we do this? They all want to make a deal. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible. A man like Roger Penske, I don't want to get him in trouble with China, so I won't, but he would know that someday you have to cut the bow and you have to do what you have to do, right, Roger? And that's what I did, and I'm very happy to have done it.
Mr. President,
was there anyone
the Prime Minister of Greece just told Breitbart's Matt Boyle that he thinks absolutely the European Union and the United States could work out a trade deal that's win-win and, quote, mutually beneficial to both
Greece.
sides. What do you think about the Prime Minister's comments, and do you think a deal could be struck with the European Union?
First of all, I know him. He's a good man, and I appreciate his comments. Yeah, a deal could be made with every one of them. A deal's going to be made with China. A deal's going to be made with every one of them. And there'll be fair deals. I just want fair. They will be fair deals for everybody. But they weren't fair to the United States. They were sucking us dry, and you can't do that. We have $36 trillion of debt for a reason. We don't have it there for fun. They have it for a reason. And people took advantage of our country, and they ripped us off for decades. I've been thinking about this for decades. If you ever saw me on television, I was young like these guys. And those are good old days, I'll tell you. But I was like these guys, young, and I was talking about it. Nothing changed, and nothing was done about it. Then I did it. In my first term, I did it, and did it well. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, and I started the process, but then we had to fix up from the COVID mess caused by China. We had to fix up from that, and we did a good job of doing it. And when we handed back the reins after a rigged election, and when we handed back the reins, the
Honestly,
stock
every
market
time
was
I hear
higher than
China,
it
we should
was
just play this.
before COVID coming in. So, we did a great job, but we didn't have time to do the big thing, which we're doing now. And it's, it's like a patient is sick, you have to do surgery. Patient is very, very sick. And Joe Biden handed us over a country that was in very serious trouble, economically and in every other way. They let
Honestly,
China
I should
run
get
away
like
with
the
things. They let
national
other
anthem
countries
of
run
like
away with
every
things.
country,
And maybe
then whenever
worst of all,
Trump
in a
fucking
certain way,
says
is what they
it,
did at the
like-
border. We had people pouring into our country by the millions. Many of them were murderers and drug lords and thieves and people from prisons from all over the world. And there were people from mental institutions, insane asylums. They were taking their mentally insane, and they were dumping them into our country. And I'll tell you, Tom Homan and Kristi Noem are doing a fantastic job in removing them. And now the courts, the Supreme Court just gave us numerous good rulings where we have to be able to get them out. You had other judges trying to take over the system. And think of it, they take over. They want these people coming back. Tren de Aragua from Venezuela, the Venezuela jails.
Yeah, the judges want to
cut off the fingers
ask
of a man
these
in
gang
Colorado.
members
They
a
cut off
question,
his
I
fingers
guess.
because he
I don't
called the
fucking know
police
why.
looking for help. They said, "Did you call the police?" He said, "Yes, I did." Put your hand down, and they cut off the fingers. This is what they want to bring these people back now. And I want to thank the president of El Salvador for the job he's done, because that is that's the way it has to be done. And it's too bad. Yeah, please.
Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, they've been talking about tariffs for decades. How come when these Democrat elites want tariffs, everything's hunky-dory, but when President Trump wants tariffs, all hell breaks loose? Do you see this double standard?
I love this guy, whoever the hell that is. That's really nice. I appreciate that question. No, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, everybody knew you had to do it, but they never had the guts to do it. It does take guts. It even takes guts for our country to go through it. That's why I say be cool. They were saying about, see, just be cool. It's going to work out. It's going to work out, and it's working out. I can tell you, working out maybe faster than I thought. But I said it's going to take a little conditioning. It's a transition to. It's really, I think it's a transition to greatness. It's going to be greatness. Our country is going to be. There'll be nothing like it, and people investing in our country, they're going to do better than they've ever done before. We have more car manufacturers, Roger, coming into our country now. Speaking of cars. We've never seen anything like it. And they're coming in because of the election, but they're coming in because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay 25 or 50 or whatever it may be. They don't want to pay that. They can't pay that. We had 3 cancellations in Mexico, building a plant. They're all coming into the United States. Canada, they're coming in. From China, they're coming in from everywhere. And that's just cars. We have chip makers coming. We're the biggest chip maker in the world from Taiwan, coming in, spending $3 billion to build plants, and mostly a big plant. This is a hell of a plant when you spend the kind of money there. They're going to go $200 to $300 billion, not million. You know, you'd say million would be the right number. It's not. $200 to $300 billion. Think of that. $300 billion. If you look at Apple is going to spend $500 billion building a plant. They wouldn't be doing that if I didn't do this. They'd just keep building them in China. And that's unsustainable. It's not a pleasant thing to do.
So apparently they're moving some of their...
I appreciate the question.
They're building a production
Chuck
plant
Schumer and
or
Nancy
something
Pelosi,
here?
Crazy Nancy,
Crazy Nancy.
they've wanted to do this for years, but they never had a president that had the guts to do it. Because it does take guts, believe me.
Was it the bond markets that persuaded you to reverse course?
I was watching the bond market. The bond market is very tricky. I was watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy. I think everything had.
I loved
the
it.
big move
I
wasn't
wanted
what
people
I did
to
today.
fucking
The big
burn,
move
to
was
be
what I
honest.
did on Liberation Day.
Honestly, I wanted to go
Liberation Day
down
in America.
more,
We're
but for some
liberated
reason it
from
went back up.
all
I
of
was
the
like,
horrible
damn.
deals that were made, all the horrible trade deals that were made, and I was helped by people
I was
just
like,
like this.
fucking let it burn.
Senator,
Let all these
congressman, and
motherfuckers
friends,
know
And
just how fucking
we had great help
retarded
in the
they are.
Senate. Our Republican senators have been
Bunch of
amazing. They stood tall.
fucking
And
idiots.
likewise in the House. And John Thune
I was
has
about
done
to
an
slay some
amazing
slurs.
job. Barrasso
I'm
has
trying
done
not
an
to slay
amazing
some
job.
slurs.
I mean, I can't think of a senator, really. We had tremendous support. We got a bill passed the other day with almost unanimous support in the Senate, and I think we're going to get that in the House, too. And I have to tell you that Mike Johnson is a great speaker. He's done a fantastic job. We had a majority of 1, now we have a majority of 7. And you don't realize how big 7 is until you have a majority of 1. 7 sounds like so much. But we're doing well. But Mike Johnson and John Thune have done a really great job.
Mr. President, was anyone influenced your decision? Did you speak with anyone? You know, Jamie Dimon? Did you speak with anyone?
Well, I watched
about-
Jamie Dimon on Maria Bartiromo's show this morning, and he was very good. He said that actually
Going
made
to
the
the cow
statement to the effect that something had to be done with the tariffs and trade. He said that. He said, look, at some point, but he said something has to be done with tariffs and trade. He understood it. He's very smart and very a genius financially. He's done a fantastic job at the bank. And he knows that. Everybody knows that. Anybody that's even a little bit smart knows it. It wasn't sustainable what was happening. Somebody had to pull the trigger. I was willing to pull the trigger. This should have been done long ago. Just like Biden should have stopped the border long ago. I mean, allowed 21 million people plus into a country, many of whom should never have been allowed out of prisons and jails.
Coffeezilla did a fucking...
Moo.
Hold on. Coffeezilla did a fucking... We have to watch this video after.
Did you?
Is he gonna get upset? Yeah.
Came out of prisons and jails from all over the world, and now we're getting them out, bringing them back to their countries. But it's should have never been done. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, would you consider exempting some U.S. companies, maybe some larger companies who have been hit hard in the markets the last few days during this 90 days?
As time goes by, we're going to take a look at it. There are some that have been hard. There are some that, by the nature of the company, get hit a little bit harder, and we'll take a look at that. Yeah.
How do you determine that over the next 90 days?
Just instinctively, more than anything else. I mean, you almost can't take a pencil to paper. It's really more of an instinct, I think, than anything else.
What's your credibility like? Because you said that these tariffs would go into effect on Monday. You said no pause, and today there is a pause. So how can people believe your word today?
It's not a question of that. You have to have flexibility. I could say, here's a wall, and I'm going to go through that wall. I'm going to go through it no matter what, and keep going, and you can't go through the wall. Sometimes you have to be able to go under the wall, around the wall, or over the wall. These guys know that better than anybody, right? You got to go around them sometimes. You're not going to go through them. So I consider, I think in financial markets, because they change. Look how much it changed today. We went from, pretty moderate today, but over the last few days, it looked pretty glum to,
Would you like
I guess they say it was the biggest day in financial history. That's a pretty big change. And I think the word would be flexible. You have to be flexible. Like he's asking the question about some companies. Some companies, through no fault of their own, they happen to be in an industry that is more affected by these things than others. You have to be able to show a little flexibility. And I'm able to do that.
There it is. President Trump. And then you have other people being...
Ублюдок, мать твою! А ну иди сюда, говно собачье! Решил ко мне лезть? Ты засранец вонючий, мать твою, а? Ну иди сюда, попробуй меня трахнуть! Я тебя сам трахну! Ублюдок, анонист чертов! Будь ты проклят! Иди, идиот, трахать тебя и всю семью! Говно собачье, жлоб вонючий!
Ricky, calm the fuck down, man.
Missed the Trump trade. The insider group chat we were all invited to. Guys, I don't know if you saw this. There was a huge opportunity to make some money because the president front ran the president. He says on Truth Social at April 9th at 8:37 a.m., this is a great time to buy. Now, this is at all-time, at least in recent memory, lows for the stock market. The stock market's bottomed out, all because of the fears of tariffs that the president implemented. So he tweets this. You're wondering, what is he talking about? Well, 3 hours later, we got this. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I hereby am raising the tariff to charge to China by the United States to 125% effective immediately, saying that he's going to pause for 90 days the rest of the world. Sending the rest of the world skyrocketing. These are U.S. markets here. The rest of the world is up as well.
Yeah,
the markets
he said
have ripped,
fuck China,
but
but okay with everyone
Trump,
else.
Front-running Trump, you had a huge opportunity to buy. I mean, he told you.
Hold on. He was like, fuck China. And then she...
It's a great time to buy. And he was right. I mean, obviously, he knew what was going to happen. Now, so that was the Trump trade, art of the deal. It's all part of the plan, mastermind, art of the deal. I will say, actually, there was a guy who knew before it, a guy who has been treated very unfairly, if I have to say so. That's
SBF?
Walter Bloomberg. I don't know if you guys
Bloomberg.
know about this. There have been a lot of think pieces,
I thought he was
a
going to
lot
bring in
of
SBF
news
somehow.
made about this guy because he, on Monday, said Trump is considering a 90-day pause in tariffs for all countries
Because
except for
SBF
China.
was like, oh, maybe
As
I
we
can
know,
get
that
Trump
came true.
to
But he said it on
pardon
Monday
me.
that Trump was considering this. And the White House came out and said, no, this is fake news. This is not real. And as a result, a bunch of pieces got made about this guy, basically saying, hey, how fake news about tariffs on Elon Musk's X shifted trillions in the market. Anyone can really say anything on the internet, and the people will just believe it. But was he wrong? I think ultimately
That's true.
he had the Trump trade before anyone else, that it was going to be paused. And actually, so I kind of feel bad for this guy. I had to make a little point to say he was redeemed. Now, he might be as surprised as anyone else. It's unclear whether even he realized that he was ultimately right. It's unclear whether maybe the White House saw the market moving in favor of that and just decided to go with that. But, I mean, it's exactly right. There's a 90-day pause on tariffs except for China. I will say, there are still tariffs, though. There still are the 10% tariffs, and the 90-day pause, really, that's all it is. I mean, it's not clear. Some people are saying that tariffs are over. This is all just part of a move to save face. But it's not ultimately clear. What is clear is some are saying that this is the art of the deal. This is how it works, guys. This is all part of the plan, that you got tricked, you got fooled. If you were a panicking like me, you were proven wrong today.
Yeah, all you people who panicked, you guys are fucking idiots. Oh my god, Trump is gonna hurt us. Oh my god, the boogeyman is gonna hurt us. Noose yourself, by the way, you fucking idiot.
That's what the secretary said. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here.
I failed!
You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen
we
the
already
opposite
went
effect.
over this.
That's right. Clearly, I was a fool for believing what the White House was saying. I mean, this was all part of a 4D chess strategy. This is also said by Peter Navarro, who also kind of said this is one of the greatest days economically for America.
This is one of the greatest days in American economic history.
I don't know. Maybe just listen to some of your politicians sometimes. I get it. The Democrats weren't doing a good job. Don't get me wrong.
And I'll tell you, all the nervous Nellies on Wall Street who try to undermine us consistently underestimate the power of the president to negotiate.
That's right, you nervous Nellies. You should have been listening to the Truth Social. You should have been buying the dip like your president told you to. Now, ultimately, was this some great plan? Well, somebody asked the president, basically, was this part of the art of the deal? Why did you ultimately remove the tariffs? Here's what the president said.
You started the morning saying be cool. And just a few hours later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through
because I guess from China, that's what, I guess today is when he got information that China put up more tariffs, I guess?
Jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, They were getting a little bit yippy.
They were getting yippy.
Afraid, unlike these champions.
Now, wait a minute.
We're getting all
that sounds
giddy.
a little different. That doesn't sound like the art of the deal. That sounds like you remove them because everyone was afraid, which is true. And that's a fine reason to remove them, but that's not the same reason as art of the deal, 10,000 IQ play. Anyway, the whole thing is bizarre, but I really wanted just to flag this weird era we are in where the president can front run his own announcements, like economically. If you could have paid for this as a group chat, you would. Like, dude, this private, imagine you had a private insight into what's going to happen in the future. Just the level of corruption is unreal. Now, some people say, well, he gave it to everyone. So, isn't that fine, I guess? And I can see your point, but the problem is nobody knew to take this seriously except for a few people. Unusual Whales notes that I think people knew of the tariff pause and traded it before, and you can see before Trump posted buy on Truth Social, traders opened QQQ and SPY calls right before the news. Someone opened SPY calls expiring today. Those calls are up 2,100% in the hour. So clearly some traders knew even before.
Suffer.
And they opened up some calls.
All of the non-believers shall suffer.
Basically by the dip.
Right.
Tweet from the president.
No,
at the same time,
natural
it is sort of
selection,
also the perfect cover.
survival of the
he
fittest.
says 3 hours before buy. No one knows what that means. It's kind of cryptic. And if you do have inside knowledge, you can just do it.
Get
buy
fucking
a bunch,
cut.
and then later you go, oh, I was just following. I just believed so much in the public, Truth Social thing. It's really the perfect plausible deniability. There's no way of proving that you didn't see that and just do it. And for everyone else, you can say, well, you had the same access to the same information. Yeah, well, some people knew that the president was about to drop the tariffs. Some people didn't. If those people who knew traded on that information and then later say, oh, no, I just followed the public advice, how can you prove otherwise? That's the problem with making statements like this.
People don't know how to be just cool, calm, and collected. They can't. They don't know how to read data.
And there's just
that's the issue.
No way of proving
these guys
one way
don't
or
understand
the
data.
other. It's weird, and it makes me worry that we're entering a time where basically the insider edge is.
Come on, voidzilla. Come on, CoffeeZilla. You should know what the data is telling you. You're the one who investigates all these shady scammers, right? What's wrong with you? Why are you acting like one of the Democrats? Why are you acting like one of the liberals who got caught red-handed in the fucking cookie jar?
Speculate what the president means about the tweets to buy the dip on the market. It's like it's actually so weird to be having presidential stock advice. That's kind of it's so crazy.
If Nancy Pelosi can put her fucking stock market portfolio up on the fucking
one of the most economically impactful news
on the goddamn market, hell,
preceded by
any of these
a front-run
motherfuckers
tweet.
can. All right, what's wrong with that? Come on, CoffeeZilla, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? I thought you were a man of principle. Well, what's wrong with you? Why are you lacking, brother? You're too green. You're too green. It looks like you need to go back to school. I was just, goddamn, I'm so sorry. There's nothing wrong with CoffeeZilla. He's a good guy. I'm just fucking with him. Alright, here we go. Trump signs these orders. Execute Order 66.
Winning out there, and we're having a good day in the stock market, as you can see, an all-time record day, and hopefully it continues. I think it should. Our country's stronger than it's ever been, and somebody had to do that with, we had to take the medicine. We had to take the medicine. That's what we've been through, and a lot of presidents would not have done it. No president would have done it, I think. But it had to be done. I just want to thank my team, his team here, and lots of others, and Scott and Howard have been incredible. And for energy, there's nobody like this man. And for the roads and highways, boy, you've done well, Sean. So we appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. And if we could, well, let's see. We're starting a lot of executive orders, and some ambassadors have been approved, yes, and we're going to start that process right now. We're honored to have Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, great state of Michigan. And she's really done an excellent job, and a very good person. And we're working on the Selfridge, as you know, the air base. We're trying to get the air base open, keep it open. I think, Gretchen, if you're there, and Matt Hall, the Speaker of the House of Michigan. And he's been fantastic as the Speaker. I appreciate it. We won the state, Matt, and
we did.
You helped me a lot.
I did, and you made me Speaker, so thank you, Mr. President.
That's good, too.
You made me Speaker,
so everybody knows. So we're working on that very hard, and I think we'll come home with a winner for Michigan, okay? I just spoke with the Secretary of Defense. Sometimes we call him the Secretary of War. It used to be called the Secretary of War. They changed it when we became a little bit politically correct. But I think we're in great shape. We're going to be in great shape. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much, Matt. Congratulations. Great job. So we'll start with the first orders. And I think we have one for a man named Mike Huckabee. Does anyone know Mike Huckabee?
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a great.
Oh, he's doing executive orders off the bat. Whoa.
And they're thrilled to have him. That I can tell you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So the Senate confirmed Governor Huckabee to be your next ambassador to Israel earlier today.
The
That's
next
his,
ambassador.
his commission as ambassador. And then we also have a transmittal letter to the president of Israel requesting that he accept Governor Huckabee's, or excuse me, Ambassador Huckabee's credentials.
He's going to be fantastic. He's going to bring home the bacon.
Should.
Even though bacon isn't too big in Israel.
That's just the third letter.
I had to clear that up.
Yeah, I don't think they can eat pork. Yeah, I don't think they can eat certain meats.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah, most of the Arab, Muslim, and Jewish
next, sir, this is a big one.
right?
As you've consistently identified,
people,
restoring our
they can't eat
maritime
certain
dominance as a
fucking
nation
things.
is very important. From shipbuilding to having a merchant marine that's capable of supporting American military efforts, really up and down the line, restoring maritime dominance has been a priority of this administration. This executive order, which was prepared primarily by your National Security Council staff and National Security Advisor Waltz, has a number of very significant policy steps, all aimed at restoring American maritime dominance and ensuring that we have the shipbuilding capacity and ability to compete globally, both militarily and in the civilian space as well.
And that could be a good one for Michigan, too, because we're going to be spending a lot of money on shipbuilding. We're way, way, way behind. We used to build a ship a day, and now we don't do a ship a year practically, and we have the capacity to do it. So we'll talk to you about that. Okay, Matt? Think about
more
that.
shipbuilding.
That's a natural.
Are we upgrading our military? Uh-oh.
Okay, shipbuilding. That's a good one. Thank you.
I mean, apparently
Thank you,
we
sir.
already
The next
upgraded
executive
one of
order
our
relates
jets
to defense procurement.
to
Our
a
current
new
defense
model.
procurement process has been criticized by many folks on both sides of the aisle as being too slow to adapt to new and changing technologies, not delivering the sorts of weapons and systems that our warfighters need in order to compete on the battlefields of the future. So with this executive order, we're going to be modernizing the procurement structure that the Department of Defense uses to allow it to more quickly adapt to changing circumstances around the world. And we're also going to be launching a review of existing procurement programs.
So are we
to ensure that we're
actually
getting value
going
for the
into
money,
research
to
and
ensure that we're getting
development
the best
now?
possible systems in the field.
And which are currently horrible. I tell you, they're horrible. That process is ridiculous, what they do. They get the highest price and not even good-looking equipment, and we're changing it. We're going to change it to the best. So this is very, very important.
Very important. This is a very important deal. I mean, this is a...
I want to say hello to Brooke. Well, look at Brooke.
This
She
is
got
for
the cost of
security
eggs down
purposes.
87%, Governor. We have somebody that's done a great job at Department of Agriculture, and Christy Noem, who perhaps a few of them have heard of. She has done the most unbelievable job as somebody that's watching over our country at the border, and with Tom Homan and your whole staff of tremendous people. So thank you. Who would think that she is like meant for that job, huh? She's meant for it. So I just saw you there both. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. We'll do it later, please.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, in the defense space, one persistent issue that we've had in terms of the issue of foreign defense sales, that we're unable to provide weapon systems in a reliable, effective way to key allies of ours, and the key driver of that is inefficiencies and inconsistencies with the process by which we approve foreign military sales. So this executive order is going to direct your Department of Defense, Department of State, other relevant departments and agencies to rework our system of foreign defense sales to ensure that we can provide equipment, creating American jobs and providing obviously revenue to American defense manufacturers, but provide key military equipment to our key allies in a reliable, effective way.
Yeah, I've been smoking one of these in a while.
All very important. Okay. Because our budget is just about approved, and it's a big budget, and we want to spend the money properly, get the best equipment in the world. We rebuilt our military during my first term, rebuilt it entirely, beautiful, and then some was given away to Afghanistan so stupidly, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, I think. But it's still, we have to fix it up a little bit, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a good job of it, too. Thank you.
Next up, sir, we have a series of executive orders and a memorandum all relating to deregulation, which has obviously been a major priority of your administration. The first of these is an executive order. The Biden administration launched what you've called a war on showers. They had certain regulations that basically killed the water pressure of showers and other water appliances.
You can say it. Go ahead. What are the appliances?
I mean, it's everything, sir.
Sinks and toilets.
Dishwashers, toilets, sinks. But the shower heads are a huge
There's no
deal.
water. You don't get water. It's ridiculous.
So with this executive order, we're effectively going to be reversing that set of regulations to ensure that Americans have choice in the consumer market. If they want a low-flow shower head, they can buy one. If they want a real deal shower head, they should have the ability to.
Nobody wants
to buy a new house,
but they can if they want to buy it.
You're not allowed to do anything more. They put restrictions on. They used to have a restrictor where you could take it out, but now they weld it in. And you take a shower or wash your hands, whatever you do, including dishwashers when no water comes out. But you wash your hands, and in my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous. And what you do is you end up washing your hands 5 times longer. It's the same water. And we're going to open it up so that people can live, and we're going to hopefully have Congress approve it so it's memorialized. We're going to try and get all of these things, including straws, a little thing like straws. We did straws a month ago where the paper straws were melting. They were dissolving. They weren't working well. And we went back to the plastic straws. We're going to get Congress to memorialize just about everything we've done here because most of it's common sense. But the water is horrible. When you go into anytime you see a new faucet, you know it's going to be a long wash of the hands. And so we're changing. It's a big deal. I did it in the first administration. Biden came in his first week, and he had no idea what he was doing, but somebody told him to do it. In his first week, he put the restrictions on all the bathroom utilities. Even in areas that have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. You see those areas all the time with the flooding. So we're doing that, and we're going to get all of the things that you've seen. I think we set a record. We're up to almost 200 and 500 amendments. Nobody's ever done them. We're going to get them approved by Congress, so they're memorialized. And we look forward to doing that. Very important. And Congress is going to start working on it as soon as we get the big, beautiful deal done. The big, beautiful deal is important. The biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. That's important. Okay? Okay? Is that okay? Good. It's a 10.
You take a good shower.
We rate the signatures. That was a 10. That's why.
This is another executive order relating to deregulation, sir. There are a lot of regulations on the books that either promote monopoly directly or prevent new market entrants from entering into a given market. The net effect of that is very negative for consumers. So what this executive order is going to do is direct your departments and agencies to work with the FTC, with the Attorney General, with the Department of Justice, to ensure that the regulations we have on the books don't function as anti-competitive barriers to new market entrants. The net effect of all of that is going to hopefully be market forces that redound to the benefit of consumers and ordinary Americans as opposed to monopolistic businesses.
I said yesterday he was a great, great student at Harvard before it went bad. It's gotten really bad now. They're teaching the students mathematics, basic mathematics. Can you believe it? So what does that mean? They're allowing people in that can't add 2 and 2? What's going on at Harvard?
I went to law school there, sir, and it was pretty liberal when I was there, but it's gone way off the deep end in recent years.
Have you read that? They're teaching them basic mathematics. People that got accepted to Harvard. How come they got accepted if they don't have mathematics?
Wait, are you talking about lawyers?
Can we believe?
I'm confused.
We give Harvard $8 billion, and we're holding back Columbia. We're holding back a lot of the schools because they were woke, and they've hurt a lot of people. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
There are a large number of regulations on the books. These are regulations that are currently in effect that we believe blatantly violate the law, blatantly violate Supreme Court precedent that otherwise are just blatantly illegal. So what this presidential memorandum does basically just directs the heads of your departments and agencies to follow the law and to cease enforcing regulations that are blatantly illegal or unconstitutional.
It's a big deal. It's really very important that we get these memorialized,
yes, sir.
Congress. Very important for the long haul, right?
Yes, sir. This is the last of our deregulatory EOs for the day. This is zero-based regulatory budgeting. The idea here is that over time, regulations accumulate on the books and in the Federal Register, and people aren't taking a close, detailed look at what's on the books and clearing them out as times change or as regulations become dated or ineffective. What this executive order is going to require is each of your departments and agencies to scrutinize on a continuing rolling basis all of the regulations they actually have on the books and sunset those that either no longer serve a purpose or the departments and agencies can't identify a specific reason for keeping them active.
Okay. Okay.
Other one signed.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you've taken action against a number of law firms that have in one way or another been involved in the weaponization of government or actions of lawfare. One of those law firms is Sussman Godfrey, similar to what we've done previously with other law firms. This is an executive order that takes certain measures against Sussman Godfrey to ensure that they can't access government resources, government buildings, scrutinizing certain aspects of their practices as a law firm, given their previous activities.
And we signed with many law firms, the ones that we thought were inappropriate, and they've all agreed to pay $1 million. They went for some pretty big numbers. I guess we have a total. What do we have? What's the total about? What's the total right now, Steve? About, would you say?
Getting close to probably $600-700 million now, I would think. We've multiple at 100 million, some at 125 million. So the numbers are adding up. We're going to be close to $1 billion soon.
One at $40 million, millions of dollars an hour. But they don't admit guilt. Remember that, they don't admit guilt. But and we have another 5 to go, I think, 5 of them. And this one is we're just starting a process with this one.
Yes, sir.
Because there were some very bad things that happened with these law firms.
And this firm is very involved in the election misconduct.
Weren't they all involved in the election misconduct? I think they were all involved.
Yes.
Anyway, so they went from $40 million to $125 million. And most of them are at about $100 million. Right? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next presidential memorandum we have for you relates to Miles Taylor. You may recall that Miles Taylor served in the Department of Homeland Security during your previous administration. In his capacity with the Department of Homeland Security, he leaked classified information. He wrote a book under the pseudonym Anonymous, making outrageous claims both about your administration and about others in it. What this presidential memorandum is going to do, one, it's going to strip any active clearance that he has in light of his past activities involving classified information. It's also going to order the Department of Justice to investigate his activities to see what else might come up in that context, given his egregious behavior during your previous administration.
And I had no idea who this guy was. I had no idea. I saw him on CNN, or one of them, I guess CNN, a lot. He'd be on all the time saying that the president is the president. I had no idea. It's like, in this office you have a lot of young people, and they're here. I'll see him for 2 minutes, and I assume he was in the office, but I barely remember him. Barely remember him. It was somebody that went out and wrote a book and said all sorts of terrible things that were all lies, and it was like he was this gentleman or that gentleman, like I dealt with him all the time. I had no idea who this guy. I said, who the hell is Miles Taylor? And he made a living on going on CNN talking about the president, and I think what he did, he wrote a book Anonymous, said all sorts of lies and bad things, and I think it's like a traitor, it's like spying. He walks into the office, he's supposed to be sitting here. A lot of people, I'll be here and there'll be 20 people standing in the room. There'll be oftentimes young people in the office. I assume he was one of them at least. But I didn't know anything about him. And he wrote a book, Anonymous, and I always thought it was terrible. And now we have a chance to find out whether or not it was terrible. But it was a work of fiction. Got a lot of publicity, got himself a nice job with CNN, or one of them. And I think we have to do something about it. You can't have that happen. If that happens to other presidents, it wouldn't be sustainable for other presidents. They seem to be able to sustain. But if that happened to other presidents, I mean, it's just unfair. And if it was a Democrat president, I'd say that's a terrible thing. A thing like that can happen. That's a terrible thing. And it's time to find out whether or not somebody can do that. Can they write a book about very confidential meetings? And, because they happen to be one of a lot of people in a room, and they go out and write a book, and worse than that, call it anonymous, like it's a big deal. And everybody saying, who is it, who is it, who is it? Then it was found out who he was a long time later. And he got a lot of publicity off that one. He's like a promoter. But we're going to find out whether or not somebody's allowed to do that. I think it's a very important case, and I think he's guilty of treason, if you want to know the truth. But we'll find out. And I assume we're recommending this to the Department of Justice.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Terrible guy.
Similarly, sir, Christopher Krebs, the former head of CISA.
I'm sorry, what? Christopher Krebs?
His position against free speech in the election context, in the context of COVID-19. This is it's a similar presidential memorandum to the one you just signed. It addresses his access to government, existing clearances he might have, and further instructs your Department of Justice, other aspects of your government, to investigate some of the malign acts that he participated in while he was still head of CISA.
This is another one. I don't know that I met him. I'm sure I met him, but I didn't know him. And he came out right after the election, which was a rigged election, a badly rigged election. We did phenomenally in that election. Look what happened to our country because of it. Open borders, millions of people coming into our country. Russia and Ukraine, that would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened. Afghanistan, the way they withdrew with 13 dead, but so many killed, actually. I mean, so many killed outside of the 13 soldiers, hundreds of people killed. And maybe, I don't know, never mentioned, but I mentioned it, 42 or 43 people so badly injured, the legs, the arms, blown off, the face. And this is all because of an incompetent group of people that preceded us, and that would have never happened. And this guy Krebs was saying, oh, the election was great, it was great. Well, it's been proven that it was not only not great. When you look at all these lawyers and law firms that are signing, giving us hundreds of millions of dollars, it was proven by so many different ways in so many different forms, from the legislatures not approving to the 51 intelligence agents that worked from all of the different scamming operations. It was a very corrupt election. They used COVID to cheat. And we're going to find out about this guy, too, because this guy's a wise guy. He said, we've proved this is the most secure election in the history of our country. Now, this was a disaster. And frankly, we should go to paper ballots, same-day voting, voter ID, and one other thing, you should get a little certificate that says you're a citizen of our country. You get a citizen piece of paper that says you're a citizen before you can vote. But you want voter ID and you want paper ballots, and you really want same-day voting. If you don't have same-day voting, they decide to change the air conditioner. Oh, we're fixing the air conditioner. Let's move all these boxes. We'll bring them back in a few days, and then they don't bring back those boxes. We got to have safe elections. We have to have borders. Ideally, we have to have a free press, which we don't have. We don't have a free press. We have a very dishonest press. This is an honor. We're going to find out whether or not he was right. This was a disgraceful election, and this guy sat back saying, well, I'm a member, or like he's a Republican or something, and almost right from the beginning. And he's tried to make the case that this election was a safe election. I think he said, this is the safest election we've ever had. And yet, every day you read in the papers about more and more fraud that's discovered. He's the fraud. He's a disgrace. So we'll find out whether or not it was a safe election. And if it wasn't, he's got a big price to pay. And he's a bad guy. Here's another one. I have no idea who he is. Krebs. I have no idea who he is. I'm sure he was in the room at some point, just like you're all in the room, but I have no idea who he was. So thank you very much. Those last two are very important, I think, for the country.
Thank you, sir. And lastly, we just have 3 proclamations. These are the sorts of things that most presidents use an auto pen for. You obviously don't like using the auto pen much, if at all. The first of these is National Former Prisoner of War Recognition Day. This is one that you did in each of, I believe, each of the previous the years of your previous administration, recognizes former prisoners of war. More generally, this proclamation is written to acknowledge the great steps you've made both in this administration and your previous administration on behalf of veterans, homeless veterans, others who have suffered in that way, and basically stating that it's a priority of your administration to ensure that veterans and homeless veterans are cared for properly.
Good. And you know what, they ought to find out who was using that auto pen. Because whoever that person was, he or she was like the President of the United States. And I'm against auto pens. I think auto pens are not a good thing, especially when you're talking about documents like we're signing today. If he can't sign, then he can't be president. It's pretty simple. Let's see whether or not he could sign. But I think that should be tested. I really think that should be tested. It's another one. And you may think about it, because how can a man that, did he really know that when they gave all false information on the council, I mean, the whole unselect committee of political lunatics, they destroyed all the information. You can't get any information. They went for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, screaming and ranting and raving. Democrats plus 2 worse than Democrats. You had Liz Cheney, and crying Adam Kinzinger, crying Adam. Every time I looked at him, he was crying. The guy was a crier. But you can't do that. You just can't do that. So we're going to find out a lot. I think we're going to find out a lot. These last 3 or 4 have been they've been very, very interesting. We'll see what happens. Sure. But I don't think a president should be allowed to use an auto pen when they're signing very, important legislation. I think a president should sign it, not use an auto pen. And we're going to find out whether or not he knew what the hell he was doing. I'm sure at this point he'll say, I signed it. They'll tell him what to say. But to give pardons to people that destroyed all the information. If you destroyed information on a civil case, just a civil case, not a criminal case, a civil case, they put you in jail for that. And they found out that Pelosi was the one that was in charge of the security of the Capitol, and she knew all about it, and she admitted her guilt to her daughter, who was a movie documentary person.
Dude, there was obviously some fucking Fed glowies in that shit. Oh, come on.
We found out all the things, everything.
There was some shady
and we go for the
shit
information,
going
so
on,
we've
all
destroyed
that
all of that information.
Yeah.
If I haven't destroyed it, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I guarantee you
Bunch
that. I'd
of
be sitting someplace
fucking
else.
glowies, man.
So I think it's something that we should really look at because it's so important. The whole concept of an auto pen.
They want to take away your Second Amendment. They want to take away your First Amendment. They basically want to rewrite the Constitution. But they know they can't because when they try to, everyone's going to be fucking looking at them, being like, you motherfucker. You're one of those people, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
You're one of those fucking
This
cunts.
is just another proclamation, sir, declaring
fucking
National
eat a
Crime
bullet.
Victims' Rights Week. You've obviously made it a major priority of your administration to track down and at times deport criminals who have committed violence on our streets, who have victimized so many people. This is an annual proclamation that hopefully gets Americans to remember that when crimes occur, there are real victims, there are real people who are affected, and there are people who suffer as a result.
Okay, it's very important. Thank you. I just want to add, so we're working very hard with Democrats, the governor, with Matt Hall, with a lot of transportation, Sean, and all of the people trying to keep Selfridge Air Force Base open, strong, thriving. And I think we're going to be successful, Governor. I think we'll be very successful at that. We've gotten some good feedback from Pete Hegseth and Department of Defense. And they're talking about F-16s, they're talking about F-35s, et cetera. It's a great piece of property, it's a great location. And it's a great state.
Yeah. There it is.
So I think we're going to come back with a very good answer. We're also working on a certain fish that's taken over a beautiful lake called Michigan, right? And that's a tough one. That's a tough one. It's very. Do you want to just talk about that?
Sure, Mr. President. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for caring so much about Michigan. We've been working a long time. We couldn't get Joe Biden to do anything about either one of these issues, particularly Selfridge Air Force Base. It'll be critical to Michigan's economy and our security when you're able to deliver us another mission there. But on the Asian carp, for years, when Obama was there, we could never get anyone to do anything about this invasive species. It's going to destroy our Great Lakes. You know how important recreational fishing and so much of that is to our state. Because of your work, we're hopeful that we'll get a solution
another
there, and we'll get that
species
barrier
fucking
built
up
so we can protect our Great Lakes. So thank you, Mr. President.
And they're very powerful fish. I mean, I see them, they jump out of the water, they jump at the fishermen. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And has this gotten into any of the other lakes yet? Because you would think it would be pretty easy because they're all sort of connected.
It's why we're working so hard to make sure that, we work with the Army Corps and erect a barrier so that the Asian carp can't get into Lake Michigan. It'll devastate the ecosystem, the economy, tourism, and it's 20% of the world's fresh water is in the Great Lakes, Mr. President, which is why it's so important that as a nation we protect the pristine waters. Yep.
And all of a sudden, I assume the lakes are all interconnected, right? Yeah. So at some point they're going to be in the other lakes. And so we're going to work hard on that. I spoke with the
Since
Army
escaping
Corps
into the wild, the Asian carps have moved northward through the Mississippi River basin towards Lake
Michigan. So we're going to work on that very hard. And thank you, Governor, very much. Sort of a bipartisan thing when you get right down to it. It's a very expensive thing, actually. It costs a lot.
Big head and silver carps are now within 47 miles of Lake Michigan. Black carps are still nearly 300 miles
away, including the other
Michigan.
fish. They eat everything. Are people endangered by the fish?
I think it's. I mean, they're going to eat all the fish there. We won't be able to fish anymore, and that's a big deal in Lake Michigan. There's a lot of fishing, recreation, so it's going to be a problem there. But you're right, it's bipartisan, sir. But you're the one taking action on these issues. We couldn't get Biden to do it on Selfridge. This thing has been delayed for 15 years, where we were trying to do it. It started under Obama, where we were trying to do it. He wouldn't do anything about it. So we appreciate you paying so much attention to this and taking action.
Well,
sir.
I would, and the governor, in all fairness, called me about it. I had seen it. And she called me, and John James called me. And, we spoke with your office. And it's, I want to put that down. Really is bipartisan. It's great to see it, actually. It's great to see that. And that includes Selfridge, too. And we're going to get it done, and we'll all stand there together and cut a ribbon. Okay? Gretchen? Good. That's good. Thank you very much. I'm glad you brought it up, and I'm glad you brought it up, Matt. Appreciate it. And I know you two get along pretty well.
They just started fucking... Apparently this just started
70% of the time.
migrating.
I think you do. All right, good. We'll have something to celebrate pretty soon. So pretty sure about that. Okay. Thank you, Gretchen, very much. Okay. Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, where does the TikTok deal stand? Given what we've seen, the tariffs
Well,
to
it's moving
China.
along, but obviously, I would say right now China's not exactly thrilled about signing it. We have a deal with some very good people, some very rich companies that would do a great job with it. But we're going to have to wait to see what's going to happen with China. So,
Mr. President,
no, it's on the table very much. I think China's going to want to do it, actually.
Mr. President, can you explain more of what you believe is the end game with China? Are you waiting for President Xi to blink? How do you think this is all going to be resolved?
Look, for years we've been ripped off and taken advantage of by China and others, in all fairness. But by China, that's the big one. And
You said China again, goddamn
just
it.
one of those things. We're making $2 billion a day right now, this country. $2 billion a day with tariffs. And they were making $2 billion a day. We'll be making more. And now when you see what happened today, I don't know if it's still there. I looked an hour ago, but we were up like close to 3,000 points. Nobody's ever seen a day like that. I think that's a record, isn't it, fellas?
Definitely.
Is that a record? Who would have thought we were going to have a record like that after watching? But because the geniuses of the world, they get it. Our country is very strong. We were left a very, very weakened country, both economically, financially, because of all of the tariffs and all of the other companies just raiding us and ripping us off. And also at the border where 21 million people were allowed to come in. Many of those people were criminals. And but the people that do this for a living, and some of them are very smart and some of them aren't smart at all. But these guys are very smart, and my group is very smart. My whole group is smart. And you've done so amazing on the border. I read the other day that there were 9 people and hundreds of thousands 2 years ago with Biden. And we had 9. We had it down to 9. And they were all let in for medical reasons. They were in bad shape. We let them in for medical reasons, not even for anything else. So you've been amazing. But that's a big thing. I think it's one of the greatest problems that I've never seen anything like it. Open borders. The whole world was emptied out. Prisons from all over the world, from the Congo, in Africa, from Africa to Asia, a lot in South America, but it wasn't just South America. Prisons emptied out. And I said it outside with the drivers before. But El Salvador has been amazing, a job that the president's done. He's coming to see me next week, and we look forward to that. But that's really been amazing. Yes?
Mr. President, the EU also announced increases in tariffs today. Why not treat...
Bad timing for them. That's bad timing.
Why not?
They didn't put them in. No, they threatened them, but they picked a later date, which our expectation is it's going to be later still.
Okay, I'm glad that they held back.
You were watching the market.
If this was the strategy all along to bring them to the table, why did you instruct or advise, or maybe they did it on their own, some of your top aides to say this is not a negotiation, to hold the line, that they were going to hold the line, that you were not going to change your mind?
A lot of times it's not a negotiation until it is, and that happens. And, I said outside that you have to have flexibility to do it right, and that's what we have. And we brought everybody to the table, and it may not be a negotiation. It may not last. I mean, things may be as that I think are not fair to us. Look, we've been ripped off by essentially everybody for 35 years. This is not just a new thing. And Roger Penske just left. He's a great gentleman, great man, actually. And he said no other president would have had the guts to do this. And I believe that's right. They wouldn't have done it. They should have done this a long time ago. A long time ago they should have done it. I started it with China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and taxes from China in my first term. And we had the greatest economy. We were up 88% on the stock market. That was the greatest ever in the history of our country. But it had to be done. It's something that had to be done.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Which countries will be negotiating first? Do you have any criteria? Because, for example, Brazil and the UK, they do not have deficits with the U.S. They have a surplus. They do not have a surplus. They have deficits with the U.S. So what is the criteria? And also, would you consider talking or meeting with Xi Jinping?
No, sure. He's a friend of mine. I like him. President Xi, I like him. I respect him. But they haven't treated our country right. Sure, I'd meet with him. On the other countries, we have Japan is here, and South Korea is here, and others are here.
He's naming too many countries. I don't have all the national
From
anthems.
what I hear, it's much more than 75. I said 75 plus.
So many.
Everybody wants to make a deal, actually. And, we want to do what's right for our country. We also want to do what's right for the world. The world is important. I mean, it's the world, right? And I think we're going to make a lot of people very happy. And I think investing in the United States of America will be the greatest investment that anybody's ever made.
Mr. President, we should start to see the sectoral tariffs, so the pharmaceuticals, steel. Is that something you're still considering moving forward?
Yeah, well, I will be, because we want them coming back. You know, we realized during COVID that we don't make our drugs and our pharmaceuticals in this country. So I realized that, and it was a big realization. We had to go to China to get drugs. We had to go to other places. I won't even mention the names, but we had to go to other places. We don't make it. And that's because we let them leave. And now if they want to come back, we're going to
Zara, I'm eating
tariffs on the
M&Ms.
pharmaceutical companies, and they're going to want to come back. They're going to come back. I'm not going to pay them any money like Biden with the chip deal. That chip deal was horrible. They give billions and billions of dollars to chip companies. All they have is money. They have so much money.
Money, money,
And
money.
they give billions of dollars, and they're just going to keep the money. They're not going to spend it. And the only thing that's going to bring them back is you say, we have a barrier. You have to pay 50% or 100% or 200%. And if they have to pay that, they're going to say, we're not going to pay that. We're going to build here. And that's what happened. We're the biggest, most prestigious chip company in the world, spending $200 to $300 billion. Think of that, $1 billion to build essentially one massive plant. It'll be one of the largest plants in the world. And we're going to get them very quickly. We're going to get them energy. We're going to get them the electricity they need and the energy that they need. And it'll be approved by Lee Zeldin, a total professional. And it'll be approved very quickly. And they'll get their zoning very quickly. They'll have everything done in a matter of months.
Thank you, sir. You've procured a record amount of private sector investments since your election, $7 trillion. You talked about the importance of all that. Can you talk about how these investments will have a positive impact on families who felt like the previous economy left them behind, and why your executive orders on coal yesterday is so important given the amount of manufacturing that you're ushering back in?
Thank you. And which is correct. We have, I would say, more than $7 trillion now, right, of investment coming in. Apple is coming in for $500 billion alone. We have other companies coming in with massive numbers. We have car companies that are coming in. No, we've never seen anything like it. Maybe in the 1940s or 50s or something, but we've never seen anything like it. They had 3 plants canceled in Mexico. Not that we want to hurt Mexico, but we're for us. And that's what my job is. It's not to take care of other countries, but I want to help other countries as much as I can, but we have to take care of America first, and it's about America first. So we have many, many companies coming in that would have never come in if we didn't win the election and then put the tariffs on. And they're coming in because when they build in the United States, there are no tariffs. You don't have to pay any tariffs. So instead of paying 30, 40, 50% or 25%, but it could go a lot higher in some of the industries. So we have steel mills right now
it's
that are
720
raging.
p.
The steel industry was gone. If I didn't put the tariffs on steel, because China was dumping massive amounts of steel in my first term, and I put tariffs on it, I saved the steel industry, but now it's going to thrive, maybe like never before. I mean, if you go back to U.S. Steel from 90 years ago, it's incredible. It was the #1 company in the world for a long time. That's why we don't want to see it go to Japan. And we love Japan, but U.S. Steel is a very special company. We don't want it to go to Japan or any other place. So we're working with them, and I don't know if they need any money now. I'll be honest with you. They hit
video
gold.
quality.
They hit gold because if you look at it, they have such orders for steel now. It's incredible. What's going on in our country is incredible with respect to plants. So we lost 90,000 plants and factories from the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made in the history of this world, but certainly in the history of trade. There's never been a worse trade deal. We were able to cancel that. We had to get approval from Congress. It was like a disastrous curse because you had to go to Congress to get it terminated. You couldn't just terminate it because it was a bad deal. And you had people in Congress that didn't want to do it because they had other reasons, maybe bad reasons. They're mostly not there anymore, those people. But it's amazing what's happened. I appreciate that question because it's incredible. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. $7 trillion, and it's much more than that because these are places that we know. $7 trillion is unheard of. I never looked at the Biden numbers, but you could go a whole year and it was peanuts. Everybody was leaving. Peanuts. They weren't coming in. They were leaving, and that means jobs are leaving.
The peanuts. Yeah.
And so we're not playing games. We're going to make this country greater than ever before. Thank you for that question.
Mr. President, it seems like China's made some. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. For the past few days, we've heard from this administration no pause. Was this idea of doing a pause, did that just come about this morning? Can you tell us exactly what came into consideration for you and your advisors?
For a period of time, I would say this morning. Over the last few days, I've been thinking about it. I've been dealing with Scott, with Howard, with some other people that are very professional. And I think it probably came together early this morning, fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up.
So
we didn't have the use of
talking about a lot of deals going on.
We wrote it up from our hearts, right? It was written from the heart, and I think it was well written too. But it was written from the heart. It was written as something that I think was very positive for the world and for us. And we don't want to hurt countries that don't need to be heard, and they all want to negotiate. The only problem is, you know, you can only do so many at one time. It's like, we want to do it right. We want to get it right. We want to take care of them, but we have to take care of our country. So, but this was something certainly we've been talking about for a period of time, and we decided to pull the trigger. And we did it today, and we're happy about it. I didn't know it would have that kind of an impact, but it's, you know, I think we have the biggest increase in the history of the stock market. That's pretty good. That's pretty, you're almost, you know, if you keep going, you're going to be back to where it was 4 weeks ago. But it was a sick market 4 weeks ago, you know, because the trade was sick. It was only a question of time. I don't blame the tariffs. I think the tariffs just sort of magnified what was happening. It was sick. Biden allowed these people to get away with murder. Biden allowed China to just take advantage of us. We had like $1 trillion deficit with China, $1 trillion deficit. So that was going to only be a matter of time. I think the tariffs brought it out faster, and they magnified the problem. But I think this was a problem that existed far beyond tariffs. This was a systemic problem, and we're going to cure that problem. And maybe to a large extent we have, because we've revealed it, and we've revealed it very strongly. Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. So it seems China's made some serious missteps here in these negotiations, and Secretary Bessent said earlier you may have goaded them into a tough position here. I'm wondering, are you in a way putting together a coalition against China in terms of trade here?
No. Well, China, look, they're very capable. And I don't blame China for what happened. I blame the people sitting right at this desk, right behind this desk, or another desk. You get your choice of 7. I happen to pick the Resolute. But I blame the people sitting behind in this chair, behind this desk, for being stupid, incompetent, or not having courage. This should have been done years ago. This should have been done before Obama, in all fairness. Not only Biden, Obama. This should have been done many years ago. This started with the World Trade Organization, which was owned by China. It was owned and paid for by China. They didn't even have to do things. They considered them a nation that was undeveloped. They said they were a developing nation. Well, we're a developing nation, too, if you think about it. Look at our inner cities. Look at what's happened. I think we're starting from ground zero there, right? So we're a developing nation, too. No, I know it's a lot of people take heat for saying that, but I blame the people sitting at this desk more than I blame China. If China can get away with what they got away with taking hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars right out of our pocket, because our people here were stupid. They were stupid people. Maybe corrupt. I don't know. I don't know how you can be that stupid. How do you get to be president and you're stupid? But they certainly weren't courageous. And they allowed this to happen. And with Japan and with many other countries that took advantage of us. I mean, we had deficits with almost every country. I used to read these things. First term, I'd read them. I'd actually read the agreements and say, how could anybody agree to this stuff? So certainly they were rough, and they were tough, and they were smart. And you can blame them, but I really blame the people that allowed them to do it, because, you know, if you could read first grade and you could read these agreements, you'd say, these are terrible deals. I actually used to say, who would allow deals like this to be made for our country? And maybe it's people that didn't care. Maybe it's people that weren't courageous. Maybe it's people that were corrupt. I don't know. But I blame those people more than I blame anybody else.
Mr. President, you've been very specific in saying that you would like the EU to purchase U.S. energy. Is there something specific that you would like China to do?
Well, you'll be hearing about that, yeah. There are a lot of things I'd like China to do.
Are there some examples?
There are a lot of things that I want China to do, and I'll be telling China what that is. Not you, but I'll be telling China.
Mr. President, Iran, you said the other day that if they do not agree to a potential nuclear deal, that it would be very dangerous for them. What specifically
well, they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Did you mean military action, though, if they don't agree?
Oh, if necessary? Absolutely, yeah.
And do you have
a deadline for these talks?
I do.
And
You're talking about with Iran?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Do you want something definitive this weekend, or do you see this as the start of a process?
It's a start.
Do you have a timeline?
We have a little time, but we don't have much time.
Who is starting the
Because we're not going to let them have a nuclear weapon.
Is
Can't
it
let them have a
awkward to
nuclear
be there,
weapon.
Mr. President?
And we're going to let them thrive. I want them to thrive. I want Iran to be great. The only thing they can't have is a nuclear weapon. They understand that. You know, the people are so incredible in Iran, and they're so smart. They're very smart people. But, you know, they're in a rough situation, rough regime. But they understand, and the leaders understand. And I'm not asking for much. I don't. They can't have a nuclear weapon, and I've said that. And I was a little bit surprised because when the election was rigged, I figured they'd get the weapon, because with me they were broke. They were broke. They had no money because of the sanctions. Nobody could buy oil. We did that to Venezuela just recently, and we'll do it to other countries if we have to. I want to see Russia and Ukraine make a deal. They got to make a deal. When schools get blown up and bad things happen, like I'm hearing about, it's no good. I hope we're going to make a deal with Russia and Ukraine. But with Iran, if it requires military, we're going to have military. Israel will obviously be very much involved in that. He'll be the leader of that. But nobody leads us. We do what we want to do.
When would the talks run out on the talks? When would the talks need to conclude before you might do military?
I can't really be specific, but when you start talks, you know if they're going along well or not. And I would say the conclusion would be when I think they're not going along well. So that's just a feeling.
Mr. President, on the subject of U.S. troops stationed in Europe, do you have any plans to reduce the number of U.S. troops in Europe or in other NATO countries?
Well, good. I mean, it depends. We pay for military over in Europe. We don't get reimbursed by much. South Korea too. So it will be one of the things we discuss. That's unrelated to trade, but I think we'll make it part of it because it makes sense. It'd be nice to wrap it all up in one package for each country. It's nice and clean, and we have plenty of law firms. These are great law firms that we signed with, the best. And I think part of the way I'll spend some of the money that we're getting from the law firms, in terms of their legal time, will be, if we can do it, I think we can do it, using these great law firms to represent us with regard to the many, many countries that we'll be dealing with. We'll have good lawyers representing us, but we want to have good lawyers, and these are the best, considered the best lawyers in the world, right? I mean, considered the best in the world. I don't know. They just went off a little bit.
Mr. President, two questions. On Iran, do you have an update on who will be participating or conducting these conversations? We will be there on Saturday for these direct talks. And on China, some economists are saying that right now is technically embargo on China with 125% tariffs. Are you concerned of escalation beyond the trade war with China?
No, I'm not concerned. I think President Xi is a very smart guy, and I think we'll end up making a very good deal for both. But we've been treated so badly for so many years. Again,
sorry, I think I'm
we
saying
allowed that to
China.
happen. We've been treated so badly for so many years. But no, I don't expect that. I think President Xi is one of the very smart people of the world, and I don't think he'd allow that to happen. And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But just in terms of basic escalation, which is what you said, no, I think that President Xi is a man who knows exactly what has to be done. He's a very smart man.
I mean, he does prove a point. We have some of the most advanced weaponry, up along with China and Russia, right, and these other countries too. So it's like,
man, he loves his country. I know that for a fact. I know him very well. And I think he's going to want to get to a deal. I think that's going to happen. We'll get a phone call at some point, and it'll be off to the races. It'll be a great thing for them. It'll be a great thing for us. It's going to be a great thing for the world and for humanity.
Do you have plans to meet with Putin in Saudi Arabia?
At some point, I will. We'll have to see. I mean, we have to get there right now. We got to get there. In the meantime, they're losing 2,500 on average young people every single week. Think of that. 2,500 people a week. It's not even conceivable. We got to get there fast. Take a couple of more. Yes.
Do you have to increase tariffs on China even more before they come to the table or give you a phone call?
I can't imagine it. No, you can't imagine. I don't think so. I don't think I'll have to do it. I don't think we'll have to do it more. We calculated it very carefully. By the way, when you hear 100, a lot of people charge much more than that. Canada charges much more than that to our farmers, our dairy farmers. Many people charge much more than 100 or 125 in this case. But I don't, it's still a significant number. I don't see that again.
On the investigations.
Yeah, Mr. President. So do you think some of your tariff critics would prefer, to see the United States go through turmoil than to actually see it succeed just because they are your policies?
Just leave the tariffs the way they are now and just relax, right? Some people have said that. Look, again, we're making, it'll be soon, much more than $2 billion a day. That's not the worst thing.
Honestly,
so yeah, some people
Trump
say that.
should have let them all
fucking
suffer a little bit more.
I think as
it
the
would have been
United
funny.
States, we have an obligation to look also at the
because
other
everybody's
side. What's good
freaking
for
the
everyone.
fuck out. Let them
It's
suffer.
America first, but we also want to make sure there's a world that can live and live happily and all of that. And so, this is the way I look. No, but there are people that say, look, where we are now. I've been in worse positions in my life than making $2 billion a day plus, right? It's really plus. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Head it out.
Thank you.
Head it up, or the markets are what really changed your mind when it came to
The markets right now are extremely good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, they are. Damn it. He should have let it burn a little bit more, to be honest. It would have been funny. But nah, He should have let them fucking burn a little more. Oh my god. They would have cried some more. It would have been fun. But no, he let it. He let up. He let up. Damn it. God damn it. Well, there you have it. They asked about fucking Iran, talked about China, talked about all the other countries and trade deals and tariffs. Had a lot of executive orders in the beginning, making sure that they fixed some oil industry stuff, right? A bunch of industry stuff. Kicked out some law firms. Taking care of just laws and policies and stuff like that. Or starting to roll back some of that bureaucracy shit that's going on over here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we will see. Yeah, things are moving, it seems. Things are moving. Alright. Now, I guess it is time. Oh, actually. Well, let's do this one because it's related to Trump and everything. And then we'll do us two.
My name is Juan Domingo Sanchez Miguel de Carmen La Cruz. Junior. Like so many others, I came to this country with nothing but the clothes on my back and a dream.
Forgot the junior, right?
A dream that I could come here and commit many, many crimes. But the Trump administration deported me, and now my dreams of killing many people and committing much crime have been shattered. I am as sad.
I
thought America was a place where you could freely traffic drugs. Maybe some people as well. I also came here to rob, do some cocaine, maybe take over an apartment complex or something. I also want to do non-crime things, like see a Chuck E. Cheese, go to a Doyers game, but mostly all the crime stuff. I know I'm being deported thanks to President Trump. I've only killed 5 people. There was so much more I wanted to do. So many dreams yet to be dreamed. So many people yet to be killed. But Joe Biden flew me into this country, promising me a better life of many.
God damn it. Fucking Babylon Bee outdone themselves again.
Many enjoyable acts of lawlessness. But now, Trump is flying me back to my home country, and I can still commit crimes there, but it's not as much opportunity and not as much free stuff.
There's not as much free stuff and opportunity.
It is true, since being in this country, I've killed 7 people. But I was promised that I was in a sanctuary city.
Oh my god.
Safe from laws and from being arrested. And from being forced to stop all my murder and murder-associated activities. It was a promise to me that was broken, and now I feel, como se dice, betrayed. Now I feel betrayed. I may not be a citizen, or have the right documentation, or be the kind of guy who doesn't murder people, but I am a person too. A person who just wants a chance to live the American dream and kill people. I am scared.
I am
scared of returning to a country that enforces their laws and stops me from murdering people. Please, please, Mr. President, have mercy and do not punish me because I've killed 11 people.
11 people?
Wait,
I
you
just
said
want to
7.
thank President Biden for bringing me into this country. I did what I could for you, Mr. Biden, and I voted for you many, many times.
That's a good one.
There's a lot of news bias out there, but you can weed out that bias by using Ground News. They're a website and app that gathers news from around the world and the entire political spectrum, so you can compare the news coverage and make your own conclusions. typical news feeds, Ground News shows you the full spectrum of coverage.
Well, there you have
Take
it.
a look at this story about a top MS-13 leader arrested by U.S. authorities in Virginia.
Yep,
Ground News
that
shows that over
happened.
200 outlets reported on this story, with 33% of the reporting coming from the right-leaning outlets, while only 18% of left-leaning outlets covered
There you
it.
have it.
Right-leaning headlines emphasize more details around the arrest, highlighting that the individual was a kingpin and one of the top 3 MS-13 leaders, while left-leaning headlines were more vague and skeptical about individual arrest, calling him an alleged leader. I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I like to know the bias of an article before I even read it, and that's why I appreciate Ground News.
There you have
Scan
it.
the QR code or visit ground.news/Babylon to subscribe. Join over 1 million people already using Ground News for just $5 a month. The link is in the description below.
The Trump administration is so inhumane. They even turned my kind-hearted Tia into a Studio Ghibli meme. It's so heartless. I really like the art style, though.
Like the art style.
Blessings, good sir. Thank you for watching this moving picture from the Babylon Bee.
Yeah,
Ever
it's
since
a-
Trump won the election, I've had to dress like a handmaid, as all women do now. My commander permitted me to speak to you about liking, subscribing, and commenting on said video. Please don't get me in trouble. Please help.
Wrap it up, chuds. Time to nut up shit up. Alright, there you have it. Babylon Bee. As usual. The good work.